funded by both federal and state grants.
And any questions? Again, it's part of the grant that we received. Any comments from my colleagues? Or comments from the public on R1? Mr. Hanlon, call a vote.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Mr. Greedy?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Lota?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. President, 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. R2, Mr. Hanlon?
R2 is an authorization for a change order number 3 for a previously bid and awarded contract with Seymour Excavating in the amount of $65,586 for renovations to Stevens Park Playground for the following additional items: a seawall planter, segmental retaining wall expansion, bollard installation, modifications at the 6th Street and Park Street pedestrian connection, landscape work, and seal coating the blacktop, should be blacktop around the perimeter of the park.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Overhead.
Yes, this change order was approved by the city's change order committee. It was a publicly bid project. The reason that you're seeing change orders for this particular contract of that amount is due to the fact that additional CDBG monies were discovered after the project was awarded, which allowed the city to pursue different portions of the project that were not originally included due to not enough funding. We have the funding now to do what we need to do.
Okay, so it was like a piecemeal type of thing. Is that what you're saying?
The original bid
Was for?
included certain services that were either going to be done by city staff or were omitted entirely because of cost issues. That is not happening anymore. The contractor is able to do those services, and the city has the funds now to do those services.
And the funds are coming from?
It's DCNR funding as well as CDBG funding.
Okay. Comments from my colleagues?
Quick comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Moody.
How do we find out about the CDBG money and the DCR? The CDBG money, we usually award those funding every year.
I mean, I know that Heidi Bear, when she was here, did come to city council and have that money for this particular program put in front of you for approval.
So you said that you just found out, and we found out that the money wasn't there, or
We had additional money, CDBG monies that had not been originally allocated toward this project, but upon further discussion with Heidi, we found out that they were available, and that's when she came to you to get that money appropriated for that.
Okay. Yeah, so,
No, that's pretty much what happened, yes.
Any other comments? Mr. McLean, go ahead.
Just a follow-up. So we put the bid out, and we got the bid. And then we found out we got CDBG money, and we decided we were gonna do some extra stuff that we originally didn't include in that bid, but we wanted to do eventually.
Correct.
So the $65,586 is actually coming from the block money, correct?
It's coming from the project in full is going to be DCNR money and CDBG money. So this particular money, I think, is being paid from the capital account. CDBG money allowed us to do additional work as well. So there's additional funds left in that account to do this work that's been allocated and budgeted.
Okay, so when we found out we had that CDBG money, we decided to do other things, but now because of that, we still need this to do these renovations and these alterations that are listed here. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, mine's kind of follow-up to that too, because originally the total was $379,000. And then there was another previous increase of $101,000. What was that for, and where did that money come from?
That change order was previously approved by the change order committee and by city council, and that was due to the additional HUD funding that was received for the project. Majority of the changes that you're seeing are changes that occurred as a result of either portions of the project originally being allocated towards city staff to complete. At this point in time, because of the additional funding, city staff does not have to do that. The contractor is going to be taking that on, which then frees up city staff to do other city projects. The other portion of the work is, for example, I know Ms. Taylor provided a memo for you. For example, the sidewalks that were originally surrounding the park were in very poor condition. A portion of this money will be used to fix those sidewalks. That was not originally included in the bid because the budget did not allow for that, but now we have the money to do that.
All right, so these are not monies that are coming from taxpayers' pockets, so to speak. They're through CDBG federal funding.
Correct, yes.
And that was my concern, because we went from 379 to 541. I mean, that's a significant increase from where we started at. So it's almost like we went from a Volkswagen to now we have a Cadillac. That's a correlation I would make. And we're doing that without, burdening the city or costing some other park or whatever we may want to do. And I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henderson.
Can I just do a follow-up?
Let me go to Ms. Bowman, then we'll come back to you.
What I would like to say is that I'm really happy that finally Stephen Parks is getting renovated, about time. But this is what I would like to know. After the $65,000, are you guys foreseeing something else, more money allocated towards that? And also, how much money have we spent on renovating Stevens Park?
As far
So
as,
those are two questions that I have.
as far as what potential future, in addition to this would be brought forth, I would have to refer to Lindsay.
This will pretty much finish the improvements that we need to make to the park. I don't expect any additional change orders to be coming forward for this project.
How much money have we spent?
As indicated, yeah.
About 300 and 400 something 80.
I believe it's upwards of $500,000.
500,000.
With the approval of this change order, yeah, it will be $546,757.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bowman, go back to Mr. Grady.
That last amount was including the 65,000 today, right?
Correct.
Okay. 65,586. The question is in regards to the pedestrian connection to 6th Street and a retaining wall. What is that retaining wall for?
It's a seat wall in the park that people will be able to sit on, and it will also be a planting box that will be planted.
Oh, so that will be inside the park?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then the connection to 6th Street, what are you doing there?
Those are, the original plans had a sidewalk, but it stopped, and it didn't link cleanly with the existing steps out to 6th Street. So we're linking that with McAdam and making it a clean connection and a more open connection. The same thing out of Tillman. We're making a clean connection to the new sidewalk, and instead of having a narrow gate as there was there previously, we're making it a wider opening, more welcome, open entrance into the park and putting bollards in. So that's so the park is more cleanly finished. It'll be a completely finished project.
Is it gonna be leveled? You know how right the way the park was, you kind of have to step up into the park. Is it gonna be level to the ground, or you need the bollards, or?
At Tillman, it will be level, a level entrance, yes. There are steps off of 6th Street, but not off of Tillman.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Any other comments from my colleagues?
I just need a clarification.
Go ahead, Mr. White.
I thought when I asked about 65,556, that was coming from general fund, correct? Not, or CDBG, that's one. So it's coming from CDBG, okay. All right, well, that's what I thought.
Anybody else? From the public, Ms. Hudson.
Good evening, Congressman. Question on the portion where the City Parks Bureau is going to do work here. What's the estimated value of that work? What was it going to be?
Well, pardon me?
City Parks, we were going to plant trees and do landscaping. Basically, you said here, most of the landscaping was originally to be done by the Parks Bureau to save money. How much money was that going to be?
It was in time and labor. I don't have that figure, but it was a significant amount of time. We were going to have to grade the park, install sod, install the landscaping. This gave us an opportunity to free up that manpower and have the contractor perform that task.
Can you take a guess what, I mean, you had to have a number sometime. I mean, I hate to say, I push this, but
I'm
in
not
your
gonna
position, you have to have, somebody has to have that number.
I'm not gonna pull a number out of my hat. It was a clean gain for us in terms of our resources.
Well,
And
I
this was not using city dollars to do this.
you were gonna save city dollars, and I think they should save more city dollars and use the funds somewhere else, or whatever for that contract. So if you're gonna save $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000, and you're taking work away, possibly, this could be possibly a union problem with the city. So I mean, I don't know where their thoughts, if they cleared that with the union or not, But if the city workers were gonna do this before, and now you're gonna contract that out, with whatever, you have to clear that, I think, with the union. I don't know, I'm just theorizing, but I think
Can I
on
address
top of
Mr.
that,
Berger's question?
Yes, you go ahead and finish your statement.
but on top of that was, there's a savings here to the city, so why don't we take the savings? We're trying to cut back on spending money. I mean, even though they say it's paid for, somebody pays for this. I mean, the contract, say you say 15,000 with the city people doing their work, which they originally put in here that they were gonna do it. Now, I'm just using 15,000, I don't know, maybe it's 20, maybe it's 10, I don't know. But the thing is, why wouldn't you go and save that money now? And, it doesn't make much sense to me, there's something missing here.
Ms. Kistler, go ahead.
If I could, I know this is highly unusual, and I mean no disrespect to Lindsay, but this Stevens Park project started long ago. And during the time that I was the interim out at Parks, if you recall, many of you attended the community meetings that we held to design the Stevens Park playground. And we engaged the community, at least I think 4 of you were there, we engaged the community, and the community designed this park to the tune of $585,000 worth of work. At that point, we didn't have that much DCNR money. So we had to take the design down years to come up with something that would still be acceptable. And I believe that the work that we then started to strategize of having city workers do, I mean no disrespect to the city workers, but was far less extensive and far less preferred work. We were going to basically bare minimum pave, basically bare minimum recreate. And then as I left, and Lindsay came on board, they came back to us and said DCNR had additional funding and we could continue to add back in the quality work that the citizens had asked for. And then CDBGs came back in and said if DCNR was in the picture, they would contribute to take us back to the original design. I don't think the intent was ever that city workers could do the work that was in the original design. City workers were going to change the design so we'd at least have paths leading to the work. I don't know if that helps, but it was prior to Lindsay's time when they picked all the equipment, they picked the design, they picked this circular thing, if you remember, that they could plug into and have a dance and have a stage and that kind of a thing, and that all had to be taken away. Now that the funding came back, I believe that DCNR wants to fund the original design. I don't know that the city workers can provide that level of work. We're talking about a huge project to get that completed. So I don't know if that helps, but since I happen to be here.
I don't really want to comment on the city being able to do it. I'm sure the Parks Department has been doing multiple levels of work in the city as far as their capability. And, but that's for you people to decide. I don't know, I'm just looking at the possibility here. You could be violating the union contract, so anyway, okay.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public concerning R2? Mr. Hamlin, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Kistler. Mr. Hamlin, call the vote.
Okay, on R2, Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
I'm troubled with 2 increases, but I'm happy with the park, yes.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
Ms. Mota.
Yes, and I'm glad that it's being done.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
And Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Or that's 7 yeas and 13.
Thank you, Mr. Hamlin. R3.
R3 is an authorization for a contract that was competitively bid with Genesis Turfgrass, Inc. at the unit prices identified in the bid for a total estimated budget of $14,446.70 for various agricultural chemicals for the Parks Department and golf course. We
Okay.
have that provides some spreadsheets that you can see.
Okay. Thank you, Beth.
They're gonna apply their own chemicals. Interesting.
Ms. Rowland, as we're passing them out, spreadsheets.
It is a rather large bid. There's 81 items on the actual bid. So hopefully this list, I know it's still very small, but maybe it can also give you a little bit of an idea of. The city released an invitation to bid for the purchase of agricultural turf chemicals for the golf course as well as the Parks and Recreation.
I kind of read them.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's very, very large.
Okay, go ahead.
And my printer's not big enough.
What's that?
My printer's not big enough.
Go ahead.
And everything.
My glasses aren't either.
This invitation to bid was advertised in October. It came back toward mid to late November. We awarded in December. So this, again, this was an 81 item bid. There's a lot of different components within this particular bid. So it did take us some time to go through it and double check everything, make sure all the numbers were correct. There are 6 engagements that will be resulting from this particular bid. So the next 5 that you see will also be the same discussion.
Okay.
We asked the vendors to provide us with unit prices, and then we asked them to provide a total cost based on an estimated number of, jugs or quarts or whatever it happens to be. The reason that I can only give you an estimated budgeted amount is I took those budget amounts and I just multiplied it and totaled it for 2017. I don't know if this is what they're going to buy, but to give you a best guess.
So this spreadsheet is like for R3, R4, R5, R6,
Yes.
R7?
Yes.
R8? Okay. Yeah, okay, just different vendors. Okay, thank you, Mr. Earl. Comments on R3 from my colleagues?
Just one. This is basically a blanket order, and they get what they need.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Dr. McGuire, go ahead.
My question has to do with oversight of these chemicals for the golf course and for the Parks Department. What is your quality control to make sure they don't go into our streams?
I can't answer that question. I'm not in the golf course, but perhaps Jeff can
Yeah.
help with that.
Good evening. Generally, we follow all the protocols and regulations around depositing chemicals on the golf course to allow them to not run into the streams. Certain equipment that we use to apply these chemicals are for that purpose only. And as I say, we follow all the regulations from the EPA.
Are these rock, if an inspector comes in, do you have a sheet that shows when they're?
We have MSDS. We also, we track every chemical that's ever applied to the golf course, at which time, at which amounts. That's a law that we have to provide that. We keep those for years on end. So anytime you want to come, anybody comes back, if we're audited, they'll follow and they'll track what we've actually applied, and it follows the law of the amounts.
You're speaking specifically for your experience with the golf course?
Correct.
By the way, I had to get my car inspected, not inspected, but taken care of recently, and out of the blue, since the person who takes care of my car knows that I work for the city, my capacity, said, by the way, the golf course is so much better these days. So keep cutting and sewing and weaving and all that stuff. The other part of my question, I guess, then applies perhaps to Ms. Taylor about what about the rest of the parks and the chemical applications there and through appertaining and all that.
Yes, we also follow all protocols, have certified pesticide applicators only applying them and following all the regulations, reporting requirements, et cetera. The same structure.
Okay, so if somebody were to come from DEP, there's a record about what was applied, when, and where.
Absolutely, it's a requirement, yes.
Good work, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McGuire. Mr. Quinn, question?
I just wanted to let Dr. McGuire know they're running a special tomorrow for carts in the 18 holes if he wants to go out.
Yeah, a little chilly. Any other comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public on R3? Mr. Hammer, call him up.
On R3, Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Mr. Green? Yes. And that's an
Okay, R4.
R4 is an authorization for a contract that was competitively bid with Site One Landscape Supply at the unit price identified in the bid for a total estimated budget of $42,043.57 for agricultural chemicals for parks and golf.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stroll, same thing?
Same thing.
Okay, same sheet?
Same sheet.
That's good. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Mr. Hanlon, R4, vote.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
That's 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, Mr. Hanlon, R5.
R5 is an authorization for a contract with Andre and Sons at the unit price identified in the bid for a total estimated amount of $14,191.41 for agricultural chemicals in the parks.
Okay, Ms. Stroll, same thing. Okay, comments from my colleagues?
Just
Mr. McLean, go ahead.
one quick question. These companies deal with different substances, that's why we're doing different companies.
Correct, yes.
Not
They
one
bid on all
company
the
does it
items.
all.
If they bid on all the items, it's awarded to the lowest bid, if they bid on it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments from the public? Mr. Hanlon, seeing none, call a vote.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
Mrs. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Reedy.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
And Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Hanlon, R6.
R6 is a authorization for a contract with Hodges Roche Company at the unit price identified in the bid for a total estimated budget of $4,456 for agricultural chemicals for the parks and golf course.
And then concern, Ms. Stroll, same thing. Okay, comments from the colleagues? Seeing none. Comments from the public? Also seeing none. Mr. Hanlon, call a vote on R6.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Reedy.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Yes.
Seven yeas and no nays.
Mr. Hanlon, R7.
R7 is an authorization for a contract with Fisher and Sons at the unit price identified in the bid for a total estimated budget of $13,207 for agricultural chemicals again.
Okay, Ms. Stroll.
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay. Comments from my colleagues? None. Comments from the public? Seeing none. Mr. Hanlon, call a vote.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Greedy.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. McGuire.
Yes.
That's 2 yeas and no nays.
Okay, one more of the same thing, R8.
R8 is a authorization for a contract with Cinetech Solutions. The unit price is identified in the bid for a total estimated budget of $7,105.50 to furnish agricultural chemicals.
Okay, Ms. Stroll.
Same thing.
Excuse me. Same thing, thank you. Comments from my colleagues? Seeing none. Comments from the public? Also seeing none. Mr. Hanlon, call a vote on R8.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Greedy.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
That's 7 yeas and no nays.
Okay, now we get into something interesting. R9.
R9 is an authorization for a 4-year contract with 2 one-year renewal options with golf cart specialties in the amount of $55,185 per year, $220,740 total for leasing motorized golf carts, and there was a single bid.
Okay, Ms. Stroll, go ahead.
The city leases the golf carts that are used at the Allentown Municipal Golf Course, and as required by the ordinance, we are required to competitively bid for the rental of equipment. So this bid was released in the fall, it came back in early December, and ultimately, we did only receive one bid. And if you have any questions regarding the specifics of the carts or anything, I can give you a chat.
Yeah, I think Mr. Hi, Mr. Lovell. I should have said hello to you before, but Mr. Greedy kind of, or Dr. McGuire was asking the chemical questions real fast. Are these new models? New models?
New model.
Okay. How many golf carts do we have?
65.
65. So what do we do with the ones that are all broken down and all that stuff?
Well, they get, the ones that they are starting, that's the problem with golf carts. Generally, this lease here was, that we're giving out out, is a 4-year lease, is a 3-year lease, 2 option years. We went through the second option year. The carts are really struggling. After that length of time, generally we're at about 8 to 10 carts down a week, and the person comes in and they get maintenances included, so they're able to fix them during this lease process. So it's a good thing, but we have to watch towards the end. That's why we make it about a 4 or 5 year lease before we get new ones.
Are they like the only game in town, this leasing?
No, there's three different companies. Cars, one, Easy Go, and Yamaha.
Okay, Chris.
Yamaha did not bid on it, at least I know, but what I know of it, they said we were gonna bid way too high for that. We wouldn't be able to compete with Yamaha. Club Car was supposed to put a bid in, that's who has our carts now, and for some reason they did not.
Okay, thank you. Comments from my colleagues?
Are the radios and speakers good on it?
I'm sorry?
And the radios and the speakers are good in it?
Yeah,
And the air conditioning works.
Yeah, the air
How many out there?
What was our cost for this past year? Do we know? Well, is it close?
46.5 a year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments from my colleagues? A different company. Yeah. Any comments from the public? Mr. Trotman, come on up. Name and address for the record, sir. Welcome.
Robert Trotner, 1920 Whitehall Street, Allentown. And the one question Mr. Hendricks asked, I was going to ask. The other question is, do we have any idea of how much, if it's $10,000 a car, I think, unless I'm not good at math, but if it's $10,000 a car, $55,000 for like 65 cars, oh, I guess it's $1,000 a car. Do we have any idea how much profit we make on these golf carts? In other words, how much we pay us against how much we get back for people who rent them?
That's a fair question.
Generally, the revenue is around $325,000 a year for the
Thank you.
carts.
Thank you.
I mean, any other comments from the public? And before we vote, I ran into 4 people this week, okay, that they said the golf carts, that you have to take a golf cart on the weekend, great idea. That it'll speed up the pace. Yeah.
I think it'll work pretty well.
What's that?
I think it'll work pretty well.
Okay, then we're gonna go
There's
to
still
Mr.
work
Hendricks.
to allow people to walk later, a little earlier, but later in the
Right.
day, you know.
Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
That being the case, that we have expanded it for the necessity to use them on the weekends, these cars will be used, in fact, more so this year
Absolutely.
than last year.
Yeah. Yeah, we should increase the revenue, my figure's around 24 to 26,000 by doing that, mandatory before 11 o'clock on the weekends only. So just that small amount of time to mandatory cards, will bring us to around 24, 26,000.
Ms. Mona, go ahead.
So you mentioned that last year was what, 47,000? So if we go with this, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but at least we're gonna get something, newer.
Yeah, the cart's really a much better cart. The previous cart we decided to get, the last 2 leases were a model called the DS model, which is kind of a stripped down cart. It uses well, but it doesn't have the things that people like with the cup holders and the way it rides, that kind of thing. And they no longer make that cart. That's probably why Club Car did not try to get into it. They have a cup model called the Precedent, which is a higher end model. So we had to go to that next model, which Yamaha.
So newer with more features,
Yes.
people are gonna be a lot happier.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna have
hopefully
Sandmix models on the carts this year to have people fill their divots in on the fairways. That'll be a big help. There's a USB connection on it that allows them to
Wow.
charge the cart up. Rides,
Wow.
it's an independent suspension cart, so it rides a lot better on the course itself. We're a little bumpy, so it'll help out that way. And we had them demoed. I brought all 3 in for demos and let at least 20 members or 20 players at the course test them out, and they all preferred this cart. And fortunately, we were able to get it because we had no control other than the bid.
Okay, well, thank you.
Did you, one question. Did you ever think of advertising on the cars for revenue stream?
Yeah, there's a lot of outfits out there that utilize for advertising for golf carts. They'll use almost GPS type setups. There'll be TV screens and that kind of thing that allow people to tell their distances from the holes. That's a feature we can look into. Currently, we do the hole signs through Benchcraft, that they provide the whole signs for free and then they advertise for them. So that's a nice feature that we have.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Brady, go ahead.
Just a clarification here on my notes. It says 2021, 48,685, and 2022, 47,385. Total cost, 4-year initial term plus 2 renewal options, 316,810. Can you explain that?
The total cost for the initial term of the contract is $220,740. Each of the option years then is identified under the section where it has maximum dollar value of all renewals provided for beyond the original term. That would be 2021 at $48,685 and 2022 at $47,385. The total cost for the initial term at that $220,740 plus those 2 renewal options for 2021 and 2022 comes to the $316,810.
So it actually goes down a little bit as we extend the terms.
Yes.
Good, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hanlon, call a vote.
Okay, on the, resolution, Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Mr. Grady?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boda?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
That's 7 yeas and.
Okay, the contract professional service meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. We'll start our city council meeting in 20 minutes. Thank you.